please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
The successful operation of all the banks. Having said that, I think some of the suggestions that the Sunil Mehta committee came up with, they had also done some analysis of the capital requirement. And we are working in tandem with the team to see what needs to be done, and we'll absolutely provide whatever capital is required. I've also discussed with them about ways in which some of the non-core assets can be quickly cashed. So I understand that public sector systems may take some time till these assets can be sold or can, through a transparent mechanism, can be converted into capital for the banks. But we are working to see if we could look at an intermediate solution for that also. Capital will not be a problem for any of these banks. Of course, they need not keep adding burden onto the system and adding more NPAs so that the capital requirement just keeps going up and up. But I think the Reserve Bank has set very robust standards now. Good amount of benchmarks, which are probably in many cases better than the best in the world. So our norms of NPA, our norms of capital requirement, liquidity requirement in many cases are better than the best in the world. Liquidity coverage ratio, for example, India has amongst the highest anywhere in the world. So we have got a very robust system in place which will help these banks not only perform well but make available low-cost capital, particularly to the small scale and the medium industry.
Sir, I'm Arun Deharkar, Chartered Accountant from Mumbai. About these recent happenings in banking sector, you have seen the law and order machinery has overstepped into banking. That's what many people say. Particularly, the Reserve Bank governor said that we don't have enough powers to control the PSUs. And the machinery, which doesn't have expertise in banking, has exceeded the powers. So what is your opinion about this thing?
Well, if there are any instances where, I said that earlier also, if there are aberrations, I'm sure the legal system is good enough to sort it out. As regards the Reserve Bank of India's powers, we have also been examining it in the Government of India, and that's an issue that we will sit with the Reserve Bank and we'll sort out. Government has an open mind on this issue.
Minister Goyal, thank you for a very excellent and forceful speech, and you always give straight answers, so I'm going to ask you a little tricky question. A previous NDA government in Parliament had announced that perhaps we can go down to 33%, maybe with some golden shares for the government which maintains veto control. So would you consider this 33% option?
No, there's absolutely no proposal at present to reduce the shareholding of the government below 51%. It will continue to be public sector banks with 51% holding in all the 20 banks which are under the Banking Regulation Act, and there's no proposal at present to change that.
So the set of measures that have been announced now, I think, are excellent to actually take care of the distress that has surfaced. But there's also another set actually which is important to ensure that this set of problems does not recur. For instance, under the previous dispensation, there used to be sort of interference from various quarters. I think creating the checks and balances to ensure that such interference does not happen is something that is important. And the PJ committee, for instance, of which I had the privilege of being part of, had put some recommendations. Would love to actually hear your thoughts on, putting some of those processes in place.
Well, I think this is an issue that many of the older bankers here, some who have retired, Janki Ballabji, Mundraji, Arundhati, they will recall. Prime Minister Modi, in his first year itself, had addressed the bankers at the Gyan Sangam in Pune. And one of the earliest decisions as a root cause analysis, and I very often talk that this government works on principles. Root cause analysis is one of our primary principles. Whatever problem comes up, I've just had to go to the unfortunate site where there was a railway road overbridge which fell. My whole focus was, what do we do to ensure that this doesn't happen anywhere else in the country. So we actually literally discussed the design of that road over bridge. We discussed how the cables in that created the stress which possibly led to it. We discussed whether even the trees in the surrounding area which had come up and their roots could have caused a problem or a weakening of the foundation of the cantilevered ROB. So our job has always been based on root cause analysis. Prime Minister Modi jolly well realized that our public sector banks have suffered political interference in the past. And that has been the bane of PSU banking in India. He announced in Pune, and in the last 4 years we have religiously and scrupulously ensured that there is no political interference either in appointments, either in loan sanction, either in settlement of dues, either in any activity related to the banking. In fact, we pride ourselves in that no minister of the government of India interferes in the decisions and operations. Even I told the Sunil Mehta committee that ensure that the government doesn't interfere and create a problem for the banks. So I'm delighted that they have ensured complete government remaining completely out of the entire process, and it will be entirely a bank-led resolution process. So I assure all of you, you will have full autonomy, but ladies and gentlemen, with great power comes great responsibility. I do hope all of you recognize that this kind of autonomy is not to be misused, but to be used for efficient and effective working of the banking systems. In a similar note, I'd appeal to all the chartered accountants also, that you have power over the whole system, you are auditing the banks, you are auditing your customers, you are actually the persons responsible to ensure an orderly functioning of the financial sector of the entire economy. And I wish all my chartered accountant brothers and sisters would take this up as a responsibility that we have all to fulfill to ensure that the nation moves in the path of honesty and integrity, that the nation and our banking system work in a fashion that we can all be very proud of.
We have time for just 2 more questions. Are there any more?
Honorable Minister, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, this has been extremely motivational because there is a very articulate plan on the twin balance sheet problem which the government inherited, and that is precipitated over the last 4 years because this was inherited by the government. And yesterday was a red letter day because it gave very many directions on how to solve the problems. So the recognition process in the economy is fairly intact. I think the remedial actions are underway. There is resolution to follow, and there is naturally recovery thereafter, the 4 Rs. The important thing, sir, which I'll ask you is, India is short of capital. How do we bring that capital collectively? I'm also responsible for that, to bring the capital into India to remedy these assets. There are only 2 sources. They are domestic sources, as in life insurance corporations and mutual funds. And the external sources are where we will need your help to come, and we'll come along with you to go and do the marketing and the fundraising. Because we'll need a lot of capital, and there is a lot of value, sir. Like you said yesterday, very brilliantly so, on CNBC, that there was fantastic value in these assets, sir. So we have to raise a lot of capital through the AIM and the AIF mode. That's my question.
Absolutely, you're right, Rana. Undoubtedly, many of these assets have big value. Who amongst us had ever imagined a Bhushan Steel giving you almost 100% of your money back? Who had imagined that the cement plant will give you probably over and above 100%, which got resolved through NCLT? And then there will be certain bad eggs where we may also lose some money. Now that's in the nature of business of banking, in the nature of entrepreneurship, that you will have some bad cases, you will have some good cases, you will have some very good cases. I think we should move on in life. And clearly capital will be required, but I can assure you capital is available in large amounts, large volumes. Frankly, this is what the world was waiting to see. The world wants to see an honest India. The world wanted to see a leader, a decisive leader who's willing to focus on integrity of systems, who's willing to ensure that our reputation in the world is of an honest nation. And today, actually, we can hold our head with pride and go around the world. Look at the response we will get when we say we come from India. Today, India is looked at as an emerging power which is unparalleled. I don't remember in the last, at least in my 40-odd years of my memory, that I remember India ever had this kind of recognition and pole position or power influencing world decisions. I personally am witness to some of the finest moments, particularly, let's say, when we were finalizing the Paris Accord at COP21. You were there also. What kind of response the Prime Minister was getting, the beeline to get even 10 minutes with the Prime Minister, the superpowers of the world telling India and our delegation that we were going to be the deciding factor for the success of Paris. So today, in my mind, we should move out of that mindset of weakness. We have to go from a position of strength. We are running a good economy. Our macro economy is strong. The fiscal deficit is coming down regularly, and I assure you, this year there will be absolutely no slippage of fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit will be maintained and will continue in our next term of 5 years to reduce and do better. I'm not being presumptuous or arrogant. I have confidence in the people of India and their understanding that they will vote Prime Minister Modi back to give us good government for another 5 years. And I am confident that this strengthening of the macro economy, this ensuring that we have low interest rates, we have low inflation, the current account deficit has by and large been low, save and except the last quarter where oil prices affected it a little bit, but we are still half of what we inherited even in the last quarter. So in every respect, the Indian economy is strong, Indian reputation is strong, Indian credibility of leadership and our business persons is strong. Money is available. I have never found money to be a deterrent when it comes to doing good or doing development. It is we who have to go out, present our case well. Money will not be a problem. In fact, I think even domestically and internationally, people are waiting to participate in the great India story.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goyal. I'd like to ask Mr. Rajneesh Kumar to please present the green certificate to Mr. Goyal. Now, this is very interesting because the green certificate is being given in lieu of a flower bouquet, and it actually represents 101 trees which have been planted. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Piyush Goyal. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Piyush Goyal.
Well, I didn't bring any shawl with me, so I'll borrow the shawl that State Bank has given, because in any case I don't take it with me. But just as a token of appreciation, Sunil, for you and your entire team, for the hours and the huge amount of effort you've put in.
Well, thank you so much.